The courtroom hummed with quiet tension. Reporters filled the back rows, some scribbling, some holding their breath, while cameras idled behind glass. This wasn't just any trial. It was the most emotionally charged case the city had seen in years. A high-profile domestic assault with one living eyewitness. A 3-year-old named Lily. No one knew how the day would go. Judges, prosecutors, even defense veterans, had questioned the wisdom of putting a toddler on the stand. Would she understand? Would she speak at all? Judge Holloway, a seasoned jurist known for her compassion, glanced down at the file she'd reread a dozen times. Too many unknowns. Lily hadn't spoken since the night her mother was found at home. Bruised, bleeding, barely breathing. The accused, the mother's boyfriend, had an airtight defense. Or so it seemed. The double doors opened. A small figure stepped in, holding her foster mother's hand. Lily wore a pale blue dress with white polka dots, a ribbon slipping from her messy hair. In her free hand she clutched a frayed plush bunny. Behind her padded a German shepherd, nails soft against the linoleum. The room exhaled when the dog entered, calm, steady, vest strapped firm across his chest. Shadow, the patch red. He'd been trained to comfort young victims who testify. No one knew yet how crucial he was about to become. Lily froze, eyes skimming the rows of strangers, the high bench, the towering seat. She squeezed her foster mother's fingers, then saw the dog. Shadow sat on the rug before the witness chair, head cocked, waiting. Lily let go and shuffled to him. She crouched and buried her face in his thick fur. Silence settled. The judge leaned forward. The prosecutor looked hopeful. The defense attorney raised an eyebrow. Lily whispered into Shadow's ear, barely moving her lips, breath thin, fingers curled in his coat. At first it sounded like a nervous child's murmur. Then her face changed. She pulled back, eyes wide and focused, brow pinched as if reaching for something buried deep. She looked across the room at the man on trial. She didn't point. She didn't cry. She simply spoke, her voice slicing the quiet. "He's the bad one." Gasps erupted. The defense shot to his feet. Objection. And the judge quickly sustained. The jury will disregard. But no one really did. They'd heard her voice. Simple, certain, uncoached. The prosecutor, Rachel Torres, mid-30s, careful and relentless, had prepared for weeks. She hadn't prepared for that. She kept her face neutral while her pulse hammered. There was no script for a moment like this. They seated Lily sideways in the witness chair. Her legs swung. One hand stayed on Shadow's neck. He sat solid beside her, as if he knew the weight on her shoulders, and his. "Lily," Rachel said gently, crouching so the girl wouldn't have to look up, "do you know where you are today?" No answer. Lily leaned to Shadow and whispered again. "He knows," she said softly to the room, stroking his head. "He saw." The judge gave Rachel a tiny nod. "Lily, can you tell us what Shadow saw?" Lily looked at her shoes, then at Shadow. "There was a bang," she said. "Mommy screamed. Shadow wasn't there yet. But now he knows." She pulled a crumpled drawing from her pocket. A stick girl hiding under a table. A larger figure nearby with harsh, angry scribbles for arms. "He broke the table," Lily added. Rachel held the page up. The defense team whispered, already drafting objections, but even they looked rattled. The judge addressed the jury. "Weigh this carefully. Remember the witness is a minor." Still, everyone understood. Something real had just moved in the room. The bond between the child and the dog wasn't just soothing. It was unlocking what no adult had reached. During recess, the gallery churned with murmurs. Lily stayed tucked against Shadow, stroking his fur, calm inside his orbit. In the hallway, Rachel leaned against cool tile. The case had felt impossible when it landed on her desk. The mother too injured to remember. The only witness, silent. All they had were bruises, fragments, and quiet. Then came Shadow, matched to Lily on her therapist's recommendation. The K-9 unit was piloting therapy support for child victims. Shadow had passed every test. Rachel hadn't expected him to become the key. Court resumed. The judge returned with a measured ruling. Lily's spontaneous statement would remain in the record. The jury would be reminded to weigh the entire case, not a single emotional moment. A small shift rippled through the box. They had seen Lily's face. They had heard her voice. It hadn't been outburst. It was memory. Rachel moved closer to the witness chair. "Hi, Lily. Do you remember me?" Lily toyed with Shadow's collar. "Shadow," Rachel said softly, to him now, not the girl. "Can you help Lily tell us more? Maybe you remember, too." Lily's eyes flicked up. A hint of a smile. She whispered in Shadow's ear. Then, louder, to Rachel, he made the loud sound. "The bad one." Was Shadow there that night? "No. But he hears me. He listens. He doesn't lie." Another ripple through the gallery. Objection. Overruled. Rachel slid a coloring book and crayons across the rail. "Would you like to draw something for Shadow? Maybe something from that night." Lily chose blue and red. Slowly she drew a room, a table, a bed. A small figure curled under the table. Across the room, a larger figure with red scribbles around its hands. "Who's this?" Rachel asked, pointing to the larger figure. He yelled. Mommy fell. Table broke. It wasn't much. It was everything. Rachel moved the drawing into evidence. A juror blinked hard. Someone in the gallery covered her mouth. Cross-examination came. James Elmore, silver hair, cold eyes, famous for cutting witnesses to pieces, smiled like a schoolteacher. "Lily," he said, gentle as syrup, "do you know the difference between truth and a lie?" Silence. "What if I told you Shadow wasn't there? How could he know?" "He knows because I told him," Lily said, lifting her chin. "And I never lie to him. Only scary people lie." Elmore faltered. Words landed flat. The judge broke for recess. Outside, Lily's trauma specialist, Dr. Aaron Fields, caught Rachel's eye. "Shadow is her translator," he said. "Most children that age don't have words for trauma. They have memory. He's the safe place where memory turns into language." Back in court, Lily returned in a sunflower dress. Dr. Fields brought a small recorder and a note. "A session from last week, with guardian consent," he said. "We didn't think it mattered. After yesterday, it might." They played it. Static, then Lily's small voice. "Shadow, you have to be quiet." He got mad. Mommy cried. "The lamp broke. I was under the bed. I wish you were there." The judge allowed it, subject to cross. The room listened. No one moved. Rachel showed a photo of the kitchen. A table split near the base. Another from the night of the assault. A child's blanket crumpled beneath a shelf. Details that had seemed like debris snapped into place. Officer Brad Jensen testified. First on scene, mother unconscious, glass everywhere, signs of struggle. They'd found a child minutes later, hidden under a blanket, silent and staring. Elmore pressed. Hearsay, imagination, a dog. But the jury wasn't looking at him anymore. They were watching the little girl coloring a happy sun beside a house. Safe things. Rachel faced them. "We underestimate children. Trauma doesn't. Truth doesn't need a loud voice. Sometimes it needs a whisper, or a dog who makes a child feel safe enough to remember." The next morning, Rachel reviewed a neighbor's security footage flagged weeks ago as low relevance. Muffled audio, flickers through a window. After Lily's testimony, she replayed it, slowed it, listened again. A shout. A crash. Wood splintering. Then a tiny voice. "Shadow, hide." Shadow hadn't been there that night. But in Lily's mind, he had been. Her courage retrofitted into the memory. An audio specialist enhanced the track. In court, the clip played for the jury. The words were faint but there. "Not coached," Rachel said. "Not prompted." The same words, repeated in therapy, in this room, and on the night itself. Elmore objected. "Dogs don't translate English." "No," Rachel said. "But trust does." Then came the turn no one expected. After a child psychologist testified to the clinical grounding of therapy animals and to the unique bond between Lily and Shadow, Lily tugged Rachel's sleeve. "I want to tell them now," she whispered. "With the court's permission," Rachel said. Lily sat again, Shadow's head in her lap. "He came at night," she said. "Mommy told him to go." He grabbed her. The table broke. "Did you see his face?" Rachel asked. Lily pulled out a drawing, unlike the others. A man with a square jaw, dark eyes, heavy brows. Rachel showed it to the judge. "Do you know his name, Lily?" Lily nodded. Then she turned and pointed, not to the defendant, but to the back of the courtroom. "At Gregory Elmore." Chaos. The gavel cracked for order. Elmore flushed, sputtering. "She's a child." "She has never pointed at anyone in this courtroom until now," Rachel said, stunned like everyone else. Court recessed for 24 hours. The DA's office lit up. Rachel ordered a full background check on Elmore, bank, phone, travel. Detective Alan Brooks called at dawn. ATM camera, night of the assault, man in a red tie. Height and build match. And his phone pinged near the victim's apartment 10 minutes before the 911 call. In court, Rachel presented the phone data and the grainy ATM footage. Then a bank record, a large transfer to Elmore from a shell company tied to Martin Gates, the victim's ex, once a suspect before charges were dropped. "We believe Gates hired Elmore to scare or silence the victim after she agreed to testify against him in another matter," Rachel said. Elmore took it further. Elmore leapt up, protesting. The judge cut him off. Deputies hovered. Rachel asked that he be taken into custody pending investigation. The judge granted it. Elmore went pale. As the deputies approached, he glanced at Lily. This time, she didn't look away. The room exhaled like lungs emptying. Rachel knelt beside Lily. "You were brave." "Shadow helped," Lily said. "I know he did." Outside, microphones clustered. A 3-year-old cracked the case. Was the K-9 really that important? Rachel lifted a hand. "We came seeking justice," she said. "We didn't expect it to come through a child and a dog. Justice doesn't care how it finds the truth, only that it does." In the days that followed, the judge signed an emergency order placing Lily with family. Her mother, recovering, began to speak again. When she learned what her daughter had done, tears filled her eyes. "She saved me," she whispered. "My baby saved me." A week later, the courtroom hosted a small ceremony. Shadow stood in his formal vest as Judge Holloway knelt to Lily's height. "In all my years, I've never seen anyone braver," she said, handing over a certificate. "Honorary Junior Justice Advocate, Lily Grace." Detective Brooks whistled softly. Shadow trotted over with a small stuffed dog in his mouth and dropped it in Lily's lap. She hugged it, giggling. "Thank you, Shadow." The story spread. Schools shared it. Letters poured in. Parents, teachers, survivors, thanking Lily for her courage and the city for believing her. Children mailed treats to Shadow. One note, written in unsteady print, read, "Dear Officer Shadow, you are the best dog in the world. Thank you for protecting Lily." Rachel moved on to a new case with a new fire. She'd seen how easily the system could miss the smallest voices. She wouldn't let it. On a warm afternoon weeks later, Lily stood outside the courthouse holding her mother's hand. Melanie could walk a little now. "You're my hero," she murmured. "And Shadow too," Lily said. "Always." The bell chimed the hour. Somewhere nearby, children laughed. Peace drifted back, slowly. A little girl who once refused to speak had changed a courtroom with 4 quiet words. "Here's the bad one."